Good morning. This is Don V with Truth Be Told. We have a couple more interesting stories we'd like to share with you. But before we move to that, please remember to subscribe. Over 90% of the people who watch my videos are not subscribers. Only takes a second. It's completely free, and it really helps me out. Okay, without ado, let's move to the first one. It says, the FBI is out of control. The light of truth will destroy the darkness. I used to respect the FBI when I worked at the State Department's Office of Counterterrorism. I was one of two officers who handled liaison with the FBI in its investigation of the '88 terrorist bombing of Pan Am 103. My supervisor and I sent out the cables to our embassies requesting permission for the FBI agents to go to those countries to collect evidence and pursue leads. Ambassador Morris Busby, who headed up the office of the coordinator for counterterrorism, it is not now known as the Bureau of Counterterrorism, in 1990 put me in charge of advertising the terrorism rewards program, and I developed the public service ads with the help of diplomatic security that launched Are You the Next Hero? In the process of developing these ads, I coordinated closely with the FBI, including the Deputy Director of the FBI. The advertising campaign, which launched in August of 1990, played an important role in leading to the capture of the terrorists who planned and executed the bombing of the World Trade Center in '93. Diplomatic security officers Brad Smith and Mike Parks provided critical assistance in implementing the program. I participated in the training of the Foreign Emergency Support Team, FEST, which put me in regular contact with the FBI members of that team. The men and women I worked with were apolitical patriots. That was then. Today's FBI is a nightmare. They have turned the FBI into a political force akin to the East German Stasi and the Nazis' Gestapo. Instead of protecting American citizens, they are spying on patriots and launching groundless cases such as BS charges brought against DEA agent Mark Ebram. Drug Enforcement Administration Special Agent Mark Ebram became the first member of the federal law enforcement to be charged in connection with the insurrection at the Capitol on January 6th. Ebram of Orange County, California, is facing felony charges of entering a restricted building and area with a weapon, carrying a firearm on the grounds of the Capitol, and lying to investigators from the Office of the Inspector General. While the affidavit states Ebram didn't actually enter the Capitol building, the affidavit includes a photo of Ebram inside the first set of fencing and barricades that surrounded the Capitol before the crowd broke through, and alleges Ebram was on Capitol grounds that day. Not only did Ebram not enter the Capitol, he was there with his brother, who was an FBI agent, but he also was there with a friend, who it turns out was an FBI informant. That FBI informant was encouraging Ebram to go inside. Ebram did not. But the fact that he did not incite violence or engage in any act of violence is ignored by the ironically named U.S. Department of Justice. They want to make an example of him. Tucker Carlson interviewed Ebram and his attorney on Tonight's Show, July 22nd. The video is not yet posted, but it's worth your time. Ebram is not alone. As most readers of the Gateway Pundit know, there are hundreds of Americans that have been unjustly arrested and jailed for the act of walking into the Capitol. They attacked no officers, they destroyed no property, they carried no weapons, but they were infiltrated by the FBI informants who were inciting people who were angry, legitimately so, over can't say that, and the failure of our pathetic justice system to hold Antifa and Black Lives Matter terrorists to account. Most thoughtful Americans recognize the appalling double standard that is being applied. If we look back through history, however, this is not the first time the FBI has tried to subvert a patriot. Just look back at what they tried to do to Martin Luther King. They tried to paint him as an agent of the Soviets, but Martin Luther King was not trying to destroy America, notwithstanding his shortcomings as a man. He was fundamentally committed to peaceful challenging a system of racial oppression put in place by Democrat politicians. His profound insights still resonate to this day, as he wanted a country that would judge people according to the content of their character rather than the color of their skin. I will make this very simple. Do not trust the FBI. Do not help the FBI. Do not cooperate with the FBI. If you must talk with someone from the FBI, only do so with an attorney present. There are still some good men and women in the FBI who are patriots, but the leadership is corrupt. If you are involved in organizing to peacefully resist this oppression, be cautious of any member of your group who is encouraging you to act unlawfully. What happened in the alleged plot to kidnap Michigan's lame governor is not an aberration. The majority involved in the scheme were FBI assets who took an active role in encouraging and planning the kidnapping. FBI agent Richard Trask is the new poster boy for FBI miscreants. Moving on. Cyber expert CodeMonkey Z posts explosive background information on Mike Lindell's upcoming cybersecurity E.Data. Mike Lindell befriended President 45 during the 45's administration. Now Lindell is trying to help save the country by addressing the F in the 2020 E. Mike Lindell put together its Absolute Truth movie months ago. In this video, I interviewed many individuals who were working to unearth the massive amounts of F in the 2020 E. During the last segments of the movie, he brought on a lady named Mary Fanning, who provided information to him that she assured showed that China and multiple other countries were involved in the E by obtaining VM data in the U.S. and then moving it to China and up to 70 countries where it was edited and give Slow Joe the can't say that and then sent back to the U.S. for reporting. I'm sorry I can't say those words because they're looking for them. The information that proved Fannin's claims was provided to her by a man by the name of Montgomery. Unfortunately, we pointed out in February Montgomery was a known fraudster. It appears hucksters may be working to sabotage the E-audits and investigations and embarrass President 45 and his loyal supporters. It would be naive of us not to think that the DS would be doing this after all the criminal actions they have done to date over the 45's years. Now another IT expert is beginning to look into the data provided to Mike Lindell. Ronald Watkins, or CodeMonkey Z on Telegram, is a former site administrator of the image board website 8channel. He has played a major role in exposing the widespread EF in the 2020 U.S. presidential E. Ron appeared on OAN in November 2020. Watkins discussed what to do in a series of posts on Telegram on Thursday night. Here's Watkins' breakdown of what to look for with Mike Lindell's information, along with Watkins' comments below. We have added comments from another cyber expert who reviewed these comments, and we have added these comments in green. Mike Lindell's PCAPs are very important and might be absolute proof of a cyber operation that targeted the E. I say might because PCAPs are a very specific thing and would need to be proven with analysis before we know for sure. In green it says, there is no such thing as absolute proof of a cyber operation. Any evidence, unless you yourself generated the content, can only be expressed as a degree of certainty. Okay, 2. PCAP is an abbreviation for packet capture. Data travels over the internet in packets that can be easily intercepted with specifically designed software or hardware. In green it says, not all internet traffic can be intercepted. You need a physical access to the tap point in order to intercept the pocket traffic that it controls. Number 3. Packets are relayed over many nodes and jumps between origin and the recipient. Any of these relays or networks in between are able to capture packets which pass through. In green it says, data packets often travel over a complex path of networks between source and target. 4. Just having 100 gigabytes of packet captures means nothing on its own, since packets are being sent constantly back and forth over the internet. The fact that you're able to read this message means you are receiving packets in real time. Green. For the novice reading this, gorilla bytes is not a real measurement. Yeah. Number 5. Since packets are sent back and forth constantly, with any amount of jumps or networks in between, anybody along the route could theoretically capture the packets holding your online banking password and steal your money. Now, why isn't everyone's online bank account getting hacked every day by people who get the smart idea to run packet capturing software? TLS, or transfer layer security, encrypts your data before sending it over the network. If anybody captures your packets while you're using TLS, then they just see a garbled mess. In green it says TLS is only one of many security measures that are used to protect packet traffic. Number 8. Only the recipient and sender of the packet will know what the packet contains if TLS is used. In green it says TLS can still be intercepted, decoded, modified in transit. Number 9. Now let's think for a second about Mike Lindell's PCAPs. Number 10. If Mike Lindell has PCAPs that prove there was a cyber operation that targeted the E-networks, then first we need to think about how he got the PCAPs. Number 11. If we assume TLS was enabled, then Mike Lindell would only be able to get intelligible PCAPs if that person logging the packets was either the sender, receiver, or cracked the encryption of the packets. Number 12. If Mike's team was able to crack TLS, then we would have a major problem for anyone who uses the internet. Number 13. There are man-in-the-middle techniques that could grab packets through to be end-to-end encrypted, but very few groups are in position to do so. See NSA, Cloudflare, etc. Number 14. Now let's assume that the sender-receiver of the packets didn't use TLS. If Mike's team was able to run the packet capturing mechanism somewhere along the network routes that the E.Data took, the TLS was not enabled, then we can essentially conclude that he has it all. Number 15. The barrier to entry to use TLS is very low. It takes but a minute to enable on a server or software and takes seconds as an end user. HTTPS is TLS. HTTP isn't. If election management software sent packets over the internet without at least enabling TLS, then that indicates that they are careless about implementing security at the least, and might even be potentially malicious. Number 17. If you have not seen Mike Lindell's PCAPs and don't know the circumstances and data he has, but this could potentially be huge if he is able to verify and properly analyze what happened on the networks on E-night. Packets consist of two portions, the header and the payload. The header contains information about the packet such as origin, destination IP address. An IP address is like a computer's mailing address. The payload is the actual data. There is much to unwind here and reconcile. Experts are already digging into Mike Lindell's claim before his much anticipated symposium on August 10th to the 12th. And they got a chance to win $5 million if they can prove that his data is incorrect. At any rate, got some really good stuff happening here in the future. If you watched my previous videos, seems like a whole lot of info is coming the second week of August. So, God willing, we're going to see some big changes during that week. At least find out a whole bunch of info. At any rate, this is Don V with Truth Be Told, and we are out of here.